Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my secret underground laboratory. Okay, fine. It's just the other room in the basement. Anywho, hello everybody. It's the Alco Diesel guy. I just wanted to show you what I've been up to. I've been kind of chatting in some of my videos about my N scale layout. Admittedly, this is not new. This came up in about, I think I started putting this together in 2014 initially. It's been completely overhauled a few times since then. I've revamped the tracks to run all the way around the back. This whole area wasn't as far built out. But anyway, let me take you on a brief tour and show you what's going on here. I have to start with, I do have an industrial line here, which is shared with a commuter line, which ends right there. This is the sort of passing place. There's the industrial spur that runs through this area, which shares that same double diamond crossover to the yard over there, with a passing place way back there. If we see, let me actually zoom in here, to give the trains an option to sort of wait their turn to get through here. And there's the other station for the commuter line. I'm sort of in the middle of putting a town in over here on the side. I'm trying to get hold of more houses to put right there. I've already started laying the houses out here. I've got even the road to put in, so I'm going to do this one right. I'm planning to put a railroad crossing way back there at the very end over here. That's going to have a railroad crossing in it. I'm going to have to do 3 tracks, but I can do that from what I understand with the basic Kato Sut. I'm not going to do anything fancy. None of this sort of electronic automatic gates. I know it's easy enough to put in, but the way this is standing, I really don't want to have any crazy wiring going to it, so I'm just going to put a basic static railroad crossing in place. And then I have to figure something out over here by the diamonds as to making a railroad crossing. I'll probably just put 2 signs up for the time being until I can find some kind of way of doing it. Anyways, you can see I've got this Nuch road from the German Nuch company. That's what I'm using right now. That's what that standard section is. I kind of just roughly laid it out as I'm getting ready to put my railroad crossing in. And here's a shot of the end of that terminus for the main line, for the commuter line. And again, as you see here, the freight lead comes off of here. Let me zoom out again. The freight lead actually comes off into here via the outer track over here from the siding. It merges in, as you see, it merges right over here onto this line. And then you can take the double track main line around, so it gives this for purpose. In other words, the train has to make a full revolution in order to make it to the actual switch to get into the actual industrial lead. At the same time, the commuter trains then take a more direct path from this area straight through. But then when the freight trains then depart this yard, they then have to take the same path. That's the reason for all the switches and everything else. That'll make things very interesting. So in other words, these 2 trains then have to halt and wait for the freight to get through, or vice versa. And the freight again would enter from this back switch over here. Let me zoom you in a little bit more so I can illustrate this a little bit better. There we go. I've got, again, this second switch coming off that double main. That's the lead to the industrial section here. I'm going to put industries right where you see all these sidings. They're just kind of laid out for the time being to store equipment in as I'm testing different things. I'm also testing to see if this equipment can take hard turns, and luckily it can. I'm then going to basically put my industries over here, have the trains work that. And then to leave this industrial/yard area, it's also going to be a yard, which I also have another factory set up over here. Let me zoom in on that too quickly for you. Right there. Nothing too fancy. It's just an off-the-shelf Bachmann industry thing. The train will depart that yard. Well, the train will then obviously go back into the industrial spur and then access the double diamonds to get back to the yard, where there again is a passing place. So it'll make this for some interesting railroading. I have remotely wired all these switches. There's some wires. It's kind of all over the place right now. I'm probably going to cover some of those up. I've routed as many as I can underneath the board. There's quite a bit of wiring I've done already. I'm going to have to camouflage some of this or get around it. I still haven't, again, figured all of this out. I'm kind of just going at it as I can. And yeah, it's coming together pretty nicely. I'm enjoying this layout coming together. I'm really getting back into N scale. I should also mention I also have a triple track outer main line, similar to what I have on the HO, except this is done with some kind of planning. The idea is that these 2 outer tracks are for a commuter line / mainline railroad. I'll be running Amtrak and commuter trains on it. The 3rd main line is going to be a freight use track / sort of backup for the commuter trains to run on. As you can see, it has access to a factory way back over here. Let me zoom in on that. All the way back here, it has access, as you see, to that freight industry just to the side of the freight, losing my mind today. The factory right there, it has an industrial spur leading off to that to make things interesting. I'm also putting signal bridges in place to give this sort of a purpose. Pardon again, the equipment's kind of strung everywhere. I'm going through equipment and testing what will stay on the track and what won't. And I have already done quite a bit of cleanup work already. Basically, the plans are now to finish that railroad crossing section, get the rest of this stuff installed, get more engines running, get more houses in place back here, and hopefully get this layout up and fully functional very soon so I can do reviews. There are quite a few engines I want to go over, quite a few sets I want to go over. Again, that's going to come in the future. I'm still working on this. Hope to have this ready really soon. And that's going to do it for this short video. I hope you liked it, and thank you very much for watching. And please give it a thumbs up if you really did enjoy it. And if you really liked it beyond that, please subscribe, as it will help me greatly. If not, feel free to thumbs down it. Again, thank you very much for watching, and as always, keep the metal side down.